hostages will be sent to Sheba Medical Center, 5 hostages at Bellinson, and 5 hostages will receive treatment at Ichilov. All 3 hospitals are prepared at all levels to receive them. Prime Minister Netanyahu visited Sheba Medical Center just the other day, one of the hospitals who will receive our hostages, and he examined the preparations for the hostages and their family members. The Prime Minister walked through the rooms they will be staying in with their family spaces as well, and control center to understand the enormous procedures that are in place to rehabilitate the hostages. Now, he praised the readiness of the medical teams who have experts on staff at all times to assist our hostages in any condition that they may be returning in. Our living hostages will face difficult tasks of physical and mental rehabilitation during this time. The entire nation of Israel will embrace them and help them get back on their feet and ensure proper Jewish burials for those who were taken from us. We are also ready and prepared to receive the bodies of our 28 hostages who have the living hostages after the living hostages are released. These hostages were either murdered by terrorists on October 7th, murdered in captivity, or have been held in Gaza by terrorists since 2014. Now, once the Red Cross hands the remains to the IDF forces inside of controlled Israeli territory in Gaza, our forces will hold a short ceremony in the Gaza Strip during that handover. The coffins will be draped with Israeli flags, and traditional Jewish memorial prayers for the dead will be said. The mourner's Kaddish prayer will be recited. The bodies will then be brought to the Abu Kabir Forensic Institute for identification in the Yafo area. Now, following the ID process and in coordination with the Jewish law and, of course, tradition, their families will then be notified in an appropriate time frame to bury their loved ones in a timely fashion. Tomorrow will be a day of reunification and excitement for some families who have waited 2 years to embrace their loved ones, while other families will grieve the return of their loved ones, closing a painful circle with proper and dignified burials. An international body, which was agreed on in this plan, will help locate the hostages if they are not found and released tomorrow. The Prime Minister insists that we will act to locate all of these hostages as soon as possible, and we will do that as a sacred duty of communal responsibility. Now, we ask the media, please, to use utmost sensitivity when covering this story, as there are emotional complexities and trauma tied to the events to come. Next, let me address the visit of President Trump to Israel tomorrow. Prime Minister Netanyahu invited President Trump to speak at the Knesset. The president will arrive tomorrow around 9:20 a.m. at Ben Gurion Airport. He will be welcomed by Prime Minister Netanyahu, Mrs. Sarah Netanyahu, and the President Herzog. The Prime Minister and President will then travel to the Israeli Knesset in Jerusalem for meetings, and the President will then address the Knesset around 11 a.m. The Prime Minister will turn Simchat Torah, the 2 years since our hostages were brutally taken and Hamas launched a horrific war on Israel, from a day of national grief to a day of national joy. I'll be taking some of your questions right now. Many of these questions that are actually listed in this chat have already been addressed. Many of you have been asking about the procedures for the release of our hostages. As like I said, the first question I'm going to take is from Joel Pollack from Breitbart News. He asked, what do you make of the fact that some participants in last night's demonstration booed the Prime Minister? Prime Minister Netanyahu has gotten us to this point. In cooperation, in coordination with President Trump, this is why we are here today, waiting for our hostages to return home. Through military, through diplomatic pressure, Prime Minister Netanyahu took risks, and those risks led us to this point. The first phase of this plan is releasing all of our hostages, and that was a dedication and a promise he made to those families. And here I am, standing today, telling you that the Prime Minister is following through on that promise. One of the questions, it doesn't list the outlet, is asking about the timing of Hamas, also referencing the reports that they could release the hostages at any point in time, like I said. And a statement that was released by the Prime Minister earlier today addresses that we are ready for our hostages
whenever Hamas wants to release them. We are expecting them tomorrow, but if there is an early release, we will be there to receive them. Adam Parsons, Sky News, will Marwan Barghouti be released? I answered that last week. He is not part of this release. Going through the rest of these questions, like I said, a lot of them are repeats. There's a question from Bell True from The Independent. If not all the bodies of the hostages are handed over, or if Hamas misses the deadline, would that be a violation of the deal? Let's get something straight. Israel is committed to this plan that was signed off on. All 48 of our hostages will be returning back to Israel, whether they are alive or deceased. Like I mentioned in this briefing before, there is this international committee that will be finding and helping locate any of the hostages' bodies if they are not released tomorrow. Going through the rest of these questions.
Recording in progress.
Eliot, CBS News to everyone. She is asking, when will the Palestinian prisoners be released? And I do have an answer for that. I just want to grab this. Basically, what we're saying right now is that the Palestinian prisoners will be released once Israel has confirmation that all of our hostages set to be released tomorrow are cross the border into Israel. And once we have that confirmation, we are expecting that the prisoners will already be on the buses. But once the confirmation comes through, they have crossed into Israeli territory, those buses will start and they will begin their journey. Thank you so much to everyone asking these questions. We appreciate it. Thanks for your time.